Welcome to We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by your friends at Immun'Âge. Immun'Âge is the ultimate anti-aging supplement. Since I've been taking it, I feel energized, at the top of my game, and people keep saying how young I look. Go to Immun'Âge.com, use code Larry for 10% off. Also brought to you by Freedom Chat. Freedom Chat is true end-to-end encryption, no storage of messages on the server, and no commercial use of user data. That way you can speak freely and message privately. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also thank Impactful Pictures, Old Glory Bank, Patriot Mobile, MyPillow, and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast. Make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you are using, whether X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. Please patronize our sponsors so we can keep bringing you these awesome videos. And if you don't patronize our sponsors, well...
Stand up, Paul.
I don't want any trouble. Leave me alone.
I can either kick your ass while you're sitting down or while you're standing up. It's your call. Raymond. Yeah.
We know where you live. We're going to get into the Los Angeles protests and riots in a minute. But let me quickly begin with this gentleman.
Bro, you came here illegally, so you're getting sent back. Like, I'm not really understanding where I'm supposed to feel bad. Like, it's the law. Like, what? Am I missing something? Like, we also can't do that. We can't go to other countries illegally and just pop up and start working and all of that without things in order, without abiding by their laws. And to be honest, it's a much worse punishment if we end up doing that. I feel like America is being generous. Y'all are getting caught and then being sent by a plane or sent by a bus back home. That's pretty generous if you ask me. Like, if I go to Russia and try to pull that off, I might not come home. They might lock me up for 50 years for trespassing. Like, I'm confused. The media is trying to make us feel bad, and they're like, oh, this person was 15 years old. He was a hard-working boy. He was in high school, blah, blah, blah. And he was an illegal immigrant from Guatemala. Bro, you lost me. You lost me. He's illegal. So I'm sorry. Like, that's just what happens. I can't feel bad no more. Everything you said before that is disregarded.
Like I said, I'll get back to the anti-ICE protests and riots in a minute. But first, sometimes you just gots to boogie. Right, Brett Baer?
I said, by the way, baby, what's your name? Should I go by the name Lois Lane? And you can be my boyfriend, you certainly can. Let me quit my brother called Superman. He is, I do suppose, flying through the air in pantyhose. He may be very sexy or even cute, but he looks like a sucker in a blue and red suit. I said, a hip hop, a hip, a hip, and a hip, hip, a hop, you don't stop. A rock to the bang, bang, boogie. Up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Skiddly-bop, scoop-bop, Scooby-Doo. That's right, America, we love you. Fox News Channel, you should watch. 6 p.m. special report. It's really good, very fair, very balanced, very fair. Hey, go away live. Thank you very much.
Hey. I got to know.
Now, about the Los Angeles riots and protests, does anybody care why ICE conducted the raids in the first place?
I came in Wednesday to kick off an operation on Friday, and it was a criminal operation. We served criminal search warrants at several places of businesses that were involved with money laundering, tax evasion, and customs fraud, bringing in over $86 million of unclaimed imports and skipping on $17 million of tariff taxes. And it's a part of a bigger investigation having to do with money flowing to Mexico and Colombia that fund the cartels, the drug cartels. So we were serving arrest warrants. We were serving criminal search warrants. And that's when the protest started. And as you said earlier, outside this arrest warrant, we arrested 40 illegal aliens working with these businesses. We also arrested significant criminal public safety threats. You mentioned it. Several rapists, child sexual predators, people that committed murder, people that committed significant domestic violence, and one was a penetration of a foreign object into a young lady. So we took the men and women of ICE in those 2 days, made LA much safer. So the mayor should have been thinking ICE, the governor should have been making ICE. Instead of that, they want to call them terrorists, they want to call them racist, and that rhetoric has caused this protest. And I was there the first 2 nights. It was out of control. The city was burning. Governor Newsom did nothing. The mayor did nothing. So President Trump, God bless him, he sent the National Guard in to save property and save lives. And I salute him for doing it.
Now, as for why these are workplace raids, sanctuary states and sanctuary cities are responsible.
Well, as a matter of fact, we got over 100 teams out today enforcing immigration law, and we're going to flood the zone. I've said for a month, sanctuary cities, you don't want us to arrest these bad guys that you just listed out. We could arrest them in the safety and security of the county jail, but they won't let us into jail. They release them into the community, which means we got to send a whole bunch of teams in the community to find this dangerous person that don't want to be found. So sanctuary cities are going to get exactly what they don't want. More officers in the communities and more officers in worksite. We can't arrest them in jail or arrest them in the community. If we can't arrest them in the community, we're going to increase worksite enforcement operation. We're going to flood the zone. And based on what LA is doing right now, we're going to continue to flood the zones. We're going to be there tonight. We're going to be there tomorrow. We're going to be there every day in the next 4 years, arresting public safety threat illegal aliens. We're not going to apologize for doing it.
So let me get this straight. Now the left doesn't want the National Guard, but on January 6th, they said they did. But remember, Trump offered and Pelosi said no.
Excuse me,
that day,
just the opposite. Chris Miller wrote a book, and he's a fantastic guy, and he was ready to go. They turned him down. If you look, the mayor of Washington, D.C., lovely lady, she said, we don't want it. We don't like the look. Nancy Pelosi said, oh, we don't like the look. If they would have had I offered them 10,000 soldiers. I said, it could be 10, it could be more, but I offered them specifically 10,000 soldiers. If they would have taken 500 soldiers, you wouldn't have had the problem. They turned it down. And if you look at the Inspector General report, he says they turned it down. They made a terrible mistake.
Well, Chris Miller was your acting defense secretary. He says you never gave that order. But back to what happened on that day. You said you weren't.
He did not say that.
He has testified that, Mr. President.
He did not say that.
Absolutely. So on the morning of the 3rd at 9:24 a.m., I specifically went to see him because I know what a big deal it is to have National Guard come and assist us on the Hill. I went into his office again, 9:24 in the morning, went up and immediately went up and said, hey, I'd like to bring in the National Guard to support me to assist me on the perimeter, because when we have a joint session of Congress, it takes a lot of our personnel inside. But immediately, as soon as I asked him, his first response was, I don't know, I don't like the optics of that. And his second response was, besides, the intelligence doesn't support it. He immediately, then we began talking. He said, have you reached out to Mike Stinger on this? I said, no, I have not talked to him about it yet. He said, why don't you talk to Stinger and see what he has to say? So then I left, went over to Mike Stinger's office at 9:35 in the morning, walked into his office. He wasn't there. I came back. He showed up at 11:13. I showed back up at 11:53 and went in to immediately ask him, I'd like to request the National Guard. He said, let's come up with another idea. Why don't you do you know somebody at the National Guard? I said, yes, sir, I know General William Walker. He said, why don't you call Walker and see if we need them, how quickly could they get here, and how many people could they send us? So I called William Walker 6:14 p.m. that night. He told me they have 125 people assisting with COVID response. He could reallocate those fairly quickly once he got Secretary of Defense approval and send them over.
Okay. When you met with Stinger, had Irvin given him heads up that you were coming to ask for National Guard?
Yeah, later on, after January 6th, specifically on April 8th, I went and had lunch with Mike Stenger. And I asked him, because it was kind of unusual. He came up with that idea so quickly when I went walking in. And I asked him, I said, Mr. Stenger, you came up with that response fairly quickly for me to call General Walker. And he had told me Paul Irving had called him ahead of time and said, son came here looking for asking for the National Guard. We got to come up with another plan. Pelosi will never go for it. I was floored by him saying that.
Now, how many days in advance were you working to prepare the Department of Defense to help secure the Capitol on January 6th?
Days in advance, Senator. We were in the Oval Office on an unrelated national security matter with the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and myself. And the President authorized up to 20,000 plus National Guardsmen and women to secure any security measures necessary related to the Capitol. So we were moving to the fullest extent of the law before the requisite request came from a local governing authority days ahead of time.
But when it comes to deploying the National Guard for the Los Angeles riots and protests so they don't get out of hand, well...
I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary. Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday.
Well, I think this is where elected leaders such as myself and other folks that have a platform need to remind people that what is it that we're trying to accomplish? And what we're trying to accomplish is to keep families together. We know so many folks that we love, that we care, that are being ripped apart. And that's what we need to focus on right now. The small level of, disturbances that we have is a distraction, but we need to be disciplined. We need to march peacefully. We need to call out the administration for what they're doing. But let's keep on message. We're here to protect our families and keep this city safe.
I wonder how you would characterize the events that are unfolding in Los Angeles right now. Is it an emergency? Is it Fox News is calling it the LA riots? Is it a peaceful protest? What's happening? What are you seeing?
Well, I mean, look, Donald Trump has created the conditions you see on your TV tonight. He's exacerbated the conditions. He's, lit the proverbial match. He's putting fuel on this fire ever since he announced he was taking over the National Guard. An illegal act, an immoral act, an unconstitutional act, and we're going to test that theory with a lawsuit tomorrow.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Sorry to interrupt you, but Governor, so that's news. If you're going to sue the administration, tell me a little bit about it. Give us a preview of this lawsuit.
Well, under his executive order, it specifically notes, and under what the DOD did, is they had to coordinate with the governor of the state. They never coordinate with the governor of the state. I've worked with the National Guard. We've deployed the National Guard. We did 3,000+ folks have been doing logistics work and fire recovery work, and they're fighting the fires, the rattlesnake teams. We did the same back in George Floyd. We have no problem working collaboratively in a mutual aid system with local law enforcement, but there's a protocol, there's a process. He didn't care about that. And the worst part, he completely lied. He said in a tweet that everything's now safe, everything's fine. Is that the case, Mr. Trump? He said because he deployed the National Guard. The Guard hadn't even been deployed when he said this. It's Orwellian. Simply lying to people. Unconstitutional, illegal act. His mess. We're trying to clean it up.
Well, I was surprised at the way that the police chief was describing all of this. There have been no violence where anybody that was protesting hit anybody, shot anybody, threatened anybody. Nothing has happened. And so he doesn't know what to do, probably, because this is a sanctuary city and the police don't have the authority. All that he's got to do is work with the governor.
But the LAPD chief, not so sure.
Issue, and the federal authorities have the right to be able to do what they're doing. As far as people worried about the violence that we're seeing, this violence that I've seen is disgusting. It's escalated now since the beginning of this incident. What we saw the first night was bad. What we've seen subsequent to that is getting increasingly worse and more violent. Tonight we had individuals out there shooting commercial-grade fireworks at our officers. That can kill you. And we have adapted our tactics to be able to have a chance to be able to take these people into custody and to be able to hold them accountable. We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing. They'll take backpacks, and the backpack will have a cinder block in it. They have a hammer, and they'll break up the cinder block and use that, pass it around to throw at officers, to throw at cars, and throw at other people. We've seen people with hammers, and you've broadcast it, breaking the bollards behind the federal building and taking the rocks, if you will, or pieces of concrete, and throwing them at officers. We've had liquid of who knows what description thrown at officers. There's no limit to what they're doing to our officers.
So much, Chief. You just described some pretty violent and chaotic situations. What is your position on the National Guard being deployed? Do we need them here?
Well, it's an interesting question, because I would have said that we could handle this. I believe that we would have gone through a number of steps before we'd have deployed the National Guard or requested deployment of the National Guard. We would normally go to 50% deployment, handle radio calls, and do the business of policing, and everybody else would be focused on the initial problem. Beyond that, then we would request through the sheriff mutual aid, and that would bring in members of the 44 other police departments in L.A. County, as well as the sheriff's office. And so that didn't occur in this case because it wasn't done through the sheriff or through up through the normal chain. It was done from the top down, from the president directing that happened, and then the National Guard was federalized. So they're working for the U.S. Army, not for the California State National Guard.
Do we need them?
Do we need them? Well, looking at tonight, this thing has gotten out of control. Before I could answer that, I'd have to know more about what their capabilities are, what their role is intended to be able to make that determination. But we have great cops in Southern California here that work together all the time. So we have tremendous capability here. To say that we would go to that right away, I'd say we wouldn't have been there yet. Looking at the violence tonight, I think we got to make a reassessment.
Hey, Eldorados, I just had my birthday a few days ago, and I just turned, but honestly, I feel more like 43. The other day I was asked, yo, Eldersky, how do you stay so sharp? I said something about feeling young again, and then it hit me. I really do feel younger, and I'll tell you why. It's this stuff right here. It's called Immun'Âge. It's a 100% natural, anti-aging Japanese supplement made 100% of fermented papaya. I've been using it daily for the past few months, and I've noticed a real difference. My immunity is stronger. Energy's up. Even my skin is looking younger. Now, just pour this packet under your tongue. It's a powder. Let it dissolve. That's it. Tastes great. No pills to swallow. No hassle. If you want to look and feel younger and give your body something it'll thank you for, go to Immun'Âge.com. That's IMMUNAGE.com and use my code Larry at checkout. Immun'Âge, not too hard to pronounce, Immun'Âge.com, code Larry at checkout for 10% off. Please welcome to the program the CEO of Freedom Chat, Tanner Haas. My question, Tanner, is assume that instead of using Signal, they had been using Freedom Chat. Would what happened have happened?
Well, I think there's a few reasons to suggest that it is likely that it would not have happened. Somebody was inadvertently added to a group chat, not with his phone number, but with the username. If I had two friends, one is named Larry Elder, the other same initials, LE, I accidentally added the wrong individual. That is really what happened. So let's make the phone number. That should be a verification right there. Number two is in a top secret group chat. You should have an approval process. So if you and I are in a group chat, Larry, with a few other people, and I want to add somebody to that group chat, then everybody in the group chat should have to approve that individual that I'm attempting to add. And until that approval process takes place, he should not, or she should not successfully be added to the group chat. It looks like he took a screenshot of the chat. Doesn't look like he took it with another phone. Freedom Chat prevents screenshots and screen recordings entirely. And as you know, if you try to take a screenshot within Freedom Chat, all you'll get is a blank white screen. and we prevent media from being saved as well. What's occurred on Signal, Telegram, WhatsApp is they allow one account to be on multiple devices. That, to me, opens up the door for security vulnerabilities, phishing, hacking, abuse. So that means that your phone number, Larry, you can log in on your iPhone, your Android, your iPad, iPhone number 2, and the more devices you have out there, the greater likelihood that something's going to happen. With Freedom Chat, we do not allow that, or we put a priority over privacy and security compared to convenience. So your phone number can only be linked to one device. Somebody tried to log in on another device with your phone number, the messages wouldn't even decrypt. It would say send a message, but decryption failed.
Don't watch from the sidelines. Invest in freedom, invest in your privacy, and be a part of history.
Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat.
Download the app today. Again, the leaders initially downplayed the violence. Several days later, they imposed a curfew. And on the 5th day, over 20 businesses were looted.
No, I don't think the National Guard is needed now. Things in LA are calm. I will tell you that I'm saddened by the extent of the vandalism in the form of graffiti all through the downtown area. But it is important for people to know that even in downtown, this is isolated to a few streets. This is not citywide civil unrest taking place in Los Angeles. A few streets downtown, it looks horrible. People committed crimes. It is absolutely unacceptable. And those people that set cars on fire or did other forms of vandalism will be sought to be arrested and prosecuted. This is not the way to promote a cause like immigrant rights.
We're going to see a lot of protesters walk around us. And a lot of them, as you see, with their hands up, peaceful protest is the chant that we've heard again and again. I'd say, Abby, there's a few people that I've started to recognize. They are always right in the front, and they haven't done anything violent. They've not done anything violent, but they are agitating, right? They're happy to have an altercation if one presents itself. But there has been no violence. So I think Jason described it very well. We'll see how it goes as it gets dark.
Really?
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. When you've got worries, all the noise and the hurry seems to help, I know. Downtown, just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Linger on the sidewalk where the neon signs are pretty. How can you lose? The lights are much brighter there. You can't forget all your troubles, forget all your cares, so go downtown. Things will be great when you're downtown. No finer place for sure, downtown. Everything's waiting for you. Downtown. Don't hang around and let your problems surround you. There are movie shows downtown. Maybe you know some little places to go to where they never close. Downtown, just listen to the rhythm of a gentle bossa nova. You'll be dancing with them too before the night is over. Happy again. The lights are much brighter there. You can't forget all your troubles, forget all your cares, so go downtown, where all the lights are bright. Downtown, waiting for you tonight. Downtown, you're gonna be alright now. Downtown, downtown.
It's honking. It's honking on its own.
Oh, damn. So everybody's hopping out to free beer. Poor guy. He's like, I don't know what to do. Charming. Now, some people, well, they weren't feeling it.
Shoot them with beanbag, go get the firemen and get the water hoses. Go get them biting dogs, them German shepherds. They sicked on them in the 60s. Sick them on them Mexicans and watch they get their ass out the way. Ain't up. This is America. If you men, I ain't no come on, this is America. You got to come the right way. Can't come the wrong way.
They gonna call it the LA massacre or something.
LA massacre.
It ain't the 60s no more. Dogs and it ain't the 60s.
LA police, they got $1 billion budget. Don't let our taxpaying dollars go to waste, letting them motherfucking Mexicans wreak havoc in the street. Trump send the National Guard. Send the Marines too. Shoot on sight. Motherfucking laws of America. Martial law.
Hey, California used to belong to the Mexicans.
They lost it. You got to get it back. If you can't take it by force, it ain't yours no more.
Now, voters on the issue of illegal immigration and these deportations increasingly have the president's back, as even CNN has acknowledged.
You know, if we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up like a rocket. Compare now versus 8 years ago during Trump's first term. Look at this. In his first term, Trump was way underwater at minus 21 points. But look at this. He's up over 20 points. Now, in the aggregate, he is in positive territory at plus 1 point on his net approval rating. Some other polls even have it a little bit higher than that. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration. No wonder the Times has written it up the way that he is. Trump is begging for a fight on this because he knows what he's doing so far is working with the American electorate.
Where does immigration rank on issues for him? How is he doing compared to others?
Yeah, so I think what's so important is it is his top issue so far. And the reason it is his top issue is because take a look at the individual nuggets in here. Why are people approving of Trump on immigration, approve of these different immigration actions? Well, Trump's administration's program to deport those here illegally. Look at this, 54% approval. How about agents searching your hometown for those that they think are here illegally? Again, positive territory here, above 50% for Donald Trump. So it's not just on the broad issue of immigration where Trump is doing well, it's on the specifics. When you dive into the issues, Trump is above 50% and his actions are above 50%, at least with those most directly connected to what's going on right now out in Los Angeles.
So Donald Trump, the president, picking a fight on this, and to an extent, you see Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, a Democrat, and the California Governor Gavin Newsom pushing back. So what do voters see in terms of their perceptions of Republicans, the president, or Democrats, say Gavin Newsom, on this issue?
Yeah, the American electorate believe that the Democrats don't have a clue on the issue of immigration. I mean, you could just take it here. Closer to trust more in immigration, Democrats versus Republicans. Got 3 different polls for you across the board. They all tell the same story. Republicans lead on the issue of immigration. You see it here, CBS +6. You see it here, CNN +6. You see it here, Ipsos, even bigger, +19. No matter what poll you look at, no matter which way you cut it, the American public is with the Republicans, the American public is with Donald Trump, and to a much greater extent than they were in term number 1. And it's not just on the broad issue of immigration, it's on the specifics as well, in which the American public is with Donald Trump and the Republicans. And that is why Donald Trump is eager to take on this fight and eager for those scenes out of Los Angeles.
I was just going to use that word, eager. This explains some of that eagerness to push forward ever more on this as it escalates.
About the ICE officers wearing masks, Democrat House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries issued this threat.
They know better than to go down that road, and it's been made loudly and abundantly clear to the Trump administration. We're not going to be intimidated by their tactics to try to force principled opposition from not standing up to their extremism. It hasn't happened during the entirety of this failed term. It didn't happen when Donald Trump temporarily was sitting high in the immediate aftermath of the election. Do you think it's going to happen now, when he's the most unpopular president in American history after his first 100 days? Give me a break. No one's intimidated by this dude. No one. And so there are clear lines that they just dare not cross.
As to why some ICE agents have taken to wearing masks, the acting ICE director explains.
Why they're wearing masks? I'm going to answer the mask question. So, no, not the mask, the mask. So, a lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is. They are wearing those masks because we ran an operation with the Secret Service where we arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagram, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue here, that we're just upset about the masks? Or is anyone upset with the fact that ICE officers' families were labeled terrorists?
Mr. President, tell us how you really feel about California Governor Gavin Newsom.
But you have a governor who let the city burn down, didn't want water to be sent down to him. And I sent billions of gallons of water. I wanted to do it in the first term. He wouldn't do it over, I don't know, they have environmental reasons, but there were no environmental reasons. I think it's just a political philosophy. But it's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time. It's still simmering a little bit, but not very much. Yeah, please.
Have you gotten...
What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed? I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's the wrong philosophy. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care. They're taking up your space in schools. They're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals. And we have to do something about it. And we're doing something about it.
Now, is it me, or have you noticed Spike Lee doesn't miss very many major events?
No, I said, let me take another sip of champagne. That's what I said. Look. The carry voters going to seem like that.
stuff. Who do you think you are, Mr. Big Stuff? You're never gonna get my love. Now because you wear all those fancy clothes, oh yeah, and have a big fine car, oh yes you do now.
Now, we sent our man in the street to sample the views of some of the Los Angeles anti-ICE protesters.
Hey, Willie Nelson here with the Larry Elder Show, and today we're in downtown Los Angeles at the ICE protests. Can you tell me about some of the chants you were saying? I think some of it was in Spanish, so I didn't understand everything, but I think I heard one that said Vive Palestine. Did I hear that correctly?
You heard that correctly, yes. We support Palestine 100%. We do not believe that the state of Israel should exist because it's a military enclave of the corporations and mainly U.S. and European powers. It's sad that Jewish people have Zionism as their leaders. I think they should get rid of them, and everyone should return to wherever they're from. They're stealing their land, just like the U.S. stole the land from Mexico and indigenous people here, so that's why we support Palestine.
What do you think is a solution that everyone could settle on and feel happy with?
I mean, the governor says leave LA, Karen Bass says leave LA, and the citizens are saying leave LA. So if they were to leave LA, I think it would be perfectly fine. But Donald Trump wants to make us a spectacle and a show.
No, I don't. I'm saying like in terms of like undocumented people. There's obviously a lot of people in the country voted for Trump. Trump campaigned on mass deportations. They would say, well, this is what I voted for. He's fulfilling his campaign promises. What is a solution that everyone in the country could feel satisfied with?
There is no solution until black people aren't being oppressed, to Hispanics aren't being oppressed, right? The only person that's getting away scot-free is a white straight male. This is Pride Month, and you see a lot of LGBTQ plus people out here, standing in solidarity with their month, with immigration rights. So it needs to change the culture, the education in America. I could go on and on about books being banned in the South. It's not connecting with some American people, and there's a reason why there's a lot of money in California, because there's education here, right? As compared to the South, Tennessee, and things like that. So that's all. Do you think America should loosen its border policy?
It's not about the border policy anymore. There's nobody coming right now. Nobody wants to come here right now. The FIFA is going to cancel. Nobody wants to come here. It's never been about the border or immigration. 4 years ago, people were invited to come here for asylum, right? They were invited. They didn't come here uninvited. Now they're uninvited. That's how it goes. They're uninvited now.
How has President Trump affected your life since he took office?
Well, probably not supposed to tell you this, but I'm active duty right now. So I've seen a lot of the changes that he's done personally in active duty. I have a lot of friends that have been affected by them. And obviously my family members, don't really move around comfortably because of him.
Can you get into the specifics of changes? You're masked, so no one can see you.
Yeah, that's fine. So I have friends who are trans in the military. He wants to kick out all trans people from the military, so that's one of them. Kind of going to work now is a big issue because you can get pulled over at any moment, check for your citizenship. If you don't have one, you're kind of cooked.
We don't agree with the term illegal. We're undocumented. We've been here for thousands of years before you guys showed up, screwed up everything. We think we should organize together with the U.S. working class and fight together and create a better system. We're anti-capitalist. We think socialism does work, real socialism, not Venezuela, not Cuba, not any of that crap that they try to sell us as socialism. And we believe it would be a more humane system that will take care of most of all people's necessities.
Is there a country we can look to kind of model the socialism idea?
The only model would be Soviet Union the first 4 years. After that, it became a mess. Sadly, there was a bureaucrat leadership that grew out of that, but it has to do mainly with the attacks of the U.S. and all big powers against that system that was working. In the few years that it lasted, it showed the world that it could do much better than capitalism.
Harry?
But wait, There's more.
They lit a Waymo car on fire, which I find ironic. You know, it should have been maybe a cop car, but a Waymo car was lit on fire.
What do you think is a solution that everyone could settle on and feel happy with in terms of like undocumented people? There's obviously a lot of people in the country voted for Trump. Trump campaigned on mass deportations. They would say, well, this is what I voted for. He's fulfilling his campaign promises. What is a solution that everyone in the country could feel satisfied with?
There is no solution until black people aren't being oppressed, to Hispanics aren't being oppressed, right? The only person that's getting away scot-free is a white straight male. This is Pride Month, and you see a lot of LGBTQ plus people out here, you know, standing in solidarity with their month, with immigration rights. So it needs to change the culture, the education in America. I could go on and on about books being banned in the South. It's not connecting with some American people, and there's a reason why there's a lot of money in California, because there's education here, right? As compared to the South, Tennessee, and things like that. So that's all.
Harry?
Remember, mostly peaceful. At first, I thought the Lakers won the championship again.
Wouldn't think a car'd burn like that.
Yes, sir. We should have brought weenies.
I have a lot of choices about who I work with in the precious metals industry, and so do you. I really love the fact that for over 45 years, AmFed Coin and Bullion has been serving buyers and sellers of coins and precious metals. AmFed has earned a reputation for providing helpful information, transparency, and fair pricing. Nick Grovich is especially hands-on. He believes that educated consumers make strong investors. Nick is upfront and transparent about AmFed's commission structure. Their typical markup, only 3 to 7% compared to many dealers that may charge as high as 35% or even more. That is a remarkable difference. When you are choosing to invest in gold, it's important to be wise in whom you choose to execute that investment. Call AmFed Coin and Bullion today, 1-800-221-7694, or go to AmericanFederal.com. If you're in the Phoenix area, make an appointment to visit them in person as I did. You will be impressed. That's 1-800-221-7694, or go to AmericanFederal.com. Do you think EVs are better for the planet than gas-powered cars?
I think so. Yes.
Probably not. Yes.
No.
Yes, I think so. I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah, electric is probably the best way to go.
When I first began hearing this business about net zero emission, I felt conflicted.
We will eliminate in the state of California the sales of internal combustion engines.
And most countries in the world have already signed up for it. I love my gasoline-powered cars. I don't want the planet to be damaged, so I just don't know what to believe. Is it really true that electric vehicles are better for the planet than gasoline-powered vehicles?
So without more mechanical parts moving in the vehicle, it's instantaneous. Torque is instantaneous.
The batteries are lasting very long. Charging them at your house using solar is amazing.
That's it? Wow. I needed to get my hands on one of those cars.
What is your opinion of electric vehicles?
Oh boy, sorry. I'm not real fond of electric vehicles. They're good for around town. If you long distance, they create anxiety. Had one fire, sitting in the parking lot, just burst into flames. And then you're having a problem with the battery. What do you do with these batteries when they go bad?
When I think about visiting Ogbog Bloshi, it brought me to tears.
This metal to the lithium-ion batteries demand skyrocket in the past decade.
It's hard to get one mine permitted in the United States, which means we're going to be relying on those people who control those minerals, and that's China.
And I'm not willing to financially support that humanity atrocity.
An electric vehicle is a computer with 4 wheels and some seats.
The components of these electric vehicles are made in China, so there could be tracking mechanisms put into Americans' cars.
And I believe that the United States needs to stand up against that.
And my father always told my brothers and me the following: hard work wins. You cannot control the outcome, but you are 100% in control of the effort. And before you moan and groan, ask yourself, what could I have done to change the outcome? My one question, my big overriding question would be real simple. Are EVs better for the planet than gasoline-powered vehicles? ABC's Terry Moran has been fired. Yes, that Terry Moran.
He wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute
over that. Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
Yeah, that was Photoshopped. So let me
That was Photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshopped? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir. I want to get to Ukraine.
Well, this newsman, this objective journalist, tweeted this about Stephen Miller. The thing about Stephen Miller is not that he is the brains behind Trumpism. Yes, he's one of the people who conceptualizes the impulses of the Trumpist movement and translates them into policy, but that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. You can see this just by looking at him, because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate. Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred only a means to an end, and that end is his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment.
You could make a good argument that Terry Moran should not be suspended. He should be fired after a screed like that. Because remember, this isn't some MSNBC or CNN opinion person, talking head. This isn't somebody on The View or a podcaster who's supposed to give strong, provocative opinions. His title literally is Senior National Correspondent for ABC News. That means he's there to report. He's there to follow the facts. He's there to be objective without fear or favor to party. And instead, that was a screed like you would read on the X feed of Keith Olbermann or George Conway. And here's the thing, and this is a rhetorical question, obviously. Could you ever imagine, because ABC News has had some journalistic heavyweights over the years, whether we're talking about Ted Koppel or Peter Jennings or David Brinkley, could you ever imagine them ever saying this about an administration official? It's 31 flavors of insanity, and quite frankly, he's lucky that he wasn't fired, because they just lost a lawsuit, Sandra, to Donald Trump for misreporting things. And now for him to do this, ABC's reputation, they might as well be MSNBC.
So I tweeted to Mr. Moran, "Yo, Terry Moran, I've known Stephen Miller since he was a teen at Santa Monica High. He invited me to speak at his school and appeared on my radio show dozens of times. His parents called me one of Stephen's mentors. So please enlighten me. When did Stephen become a world-class hater?"
You're fired. Get out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jake Tapper, truth seeker.
Why didn't Jake Tapper write this a year ago? Because he knows what would have happened. Somebody in the White House would have called up and said, Tapper, no one from CNN is going to get a seat at a press conference. There's not going to be any CNN interviews. So he backed down. And now, in a very cowardly fashion, now he comes out and he is blaming the White House cover-up. But what he doesn't tell us is the White House cover-up would have been impossible had not CNN, MSNBC, PBS, NBC, ABC, CBS all conspired with the White House staff to downplay, not just downplay Biden's cognitive decline, but attack people. Bottom line, they had more interest in protecting this left-wing administration who was using this waxen effigy of Joe Biden. And for someone's purposes, we don't know who was running the country, who was giving him the auto-pin executive orders. We don't have no idea who those people are. We have a suspicion it was the Obama crowd. But nevertheless, they didn't care about that. They did not care about that. All they knew is that this was a left-wing agenda and it had to be preserved by any means necessary. And that included lying, covering up, and worst of all, demonizing and attacking people who sought to tell the truth about Joe Biden. And now he wants to say what? I have a little humility. I may or not. I sort of kind of was part of the cover-up, but now the real Jake Tapper is in this book, who's now telling truth to power. No, you're telling truth to impotence. Joe Biden has got cancer. He's written off. He's in decline. The family is disgraced. It's easy now to write about that. It was hard and would require intellectual courage, moral fortitude to say this when he was the most powerful man in the world. And so, Jake Tapper, you failed that test, because this is one of the greatest acts of duplicity, moral duplicity I've seen in my entire life. And it joins a long list of collusion, capers, conspiracy, bogus, frauds, ruses. Jake Tapper, you should go back and see, what was your position on Russian collusion? What was your position on Hunter laptop disinformation? What was your position on the Steele dossier? What was your position on the 51 intelligence authorities? And I think in every one of those cases, you failed the test of truth. And you really did this time in the greatest cover-up in the history, as I said, of the American presidency. And it's not over yet, because we're going to learn more and more tragically about Joe Biden's medical condition, and to see if not just whether the cognitive disabilities of Biden were cover-up, but whether his prostate metastasized cancer contributed to that, and that source was also covered up.
As between Charlie Manson and Jake Tapper, I'm not quite sure who is more deserving of the death penalty.
You guys talked about the Russia hoax nonstop.
The FBI was investigating it. The FBI was investigating it, so we recovered them.
And so you took the words of unnamed FBI agents and put them on your network as if they were the gospel truth. You did it again and again. A viewer of your network would have believed that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin conspired in 2016.
No.
That was totally and preposterously false.
No.
Well, that's
what you just said is
why.
false.
President Trump has gone to, quote, extraordinary lengths to keep specifics about his meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin secret, even keeping them from top members of his own administration. Take a listen to how President Trump responded Saturday night when asked directly if he has ever worked for Russia.
I think it's the most insulting thing I've ever been asked. I think it's the most insulting article I've ever had written.
The president did not directly answer the question. It's a stunning turn of events. Do you think the president of the United States ever worked on behalf of the Russians against American interests?
This is CNN.
The question has shifted from whether the president is working with the Russians to what evidence exists that the president is not working with the Russians. I think an unwillingness to sit down with the special counsel demonstrates a continued effort to obstruct and delay the inevitable.
Do you believe that Mueller might still try to subpoena the president?
It's an extraordinary step, but I hope he does it. This is a person who wanted to work with the Russians. The Russians were helping him. And the concern right now, the urgent concern, Anderson, is that today, as we speak, our president is still working with the Russians.
This was Karine Jean-Pierre way back in February before her book came out, where she explains why she's no longer a Democrat.
Personally, I think what was the toughest thing to see in the 3 weeks was there was a disconnect for me, what was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director Ben LeBolt said, it was a firing squad. And I had never seen anything like it before. I'd never seen a party do that in the way that they did. And it was hurtful and sad to see that happening. A firing squad around a person who I believe was a true patriot, a person who I believe did everything that he can for this country, a person who I believe, as I mentioned before, has done more in one term than most presidents had done in 2 terms, historical things. And I was shocked by what I was seeing.
And Karine, just to clarify, these are other Democrats and Democratic leadership coming out against Biden.
Yep, I had never seen anything like that. That was, if you're asking me, the thing that I saw in those 3 weeks, that was shocking. Shocking. And instead of coming together to really be unified and trying to figure out how do we save our democracy, how do we fight back, that's what I was seeing. And, you know, that's what we decided to do for 3 weeks. And, you know, it was truly, truly unfortunate. And I think it hurt us more than I think folks realized to have done that.
And I know we're coming, and thank you so much for your question.
Thank you so much for your question.
I know we're coming up.
Karine Jean-Pierre, if Biden was so accomplished, so transformative, so consequential, why would you leave the party under which you've served 2 presidents? Election denier alert.
All right, look, you ready for a tinfoil hat moment?
I'm sorry?
Are you ready for a tinfoil hat moment?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to be bold and say this. And, you know, you can take issue with this all you want. I do not think he won in a free and fair election. How do you like that, lefties? Yeah, I said it. I'm Kathy Griffin, and I do not think Trump won in a free and fair election. I believe there was tampering. I don't know. I don't know if it was the Elon connection. I don't know if it was just a few good old boys in the South who didn't do what they accuse us of. If you remember Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, what they tend to accuse us of is what we find out they themselves did. So I know I'll take heat for this and people are going to say I'm crazy, but I've been called crazy before, Don. And I just, the more times
your gut is telling you something happened.
My gut is telling me that something was up with that.
You're not far off. I won't say that I disagree with you, but
okay.
I'm an evidence person. I'd like to see the evidence. I think something was off, and especially when someone said, "Oh, we've got this," and how do you know that? How do you know we've got this? How do you know? Or I don't need your vote or anything like that. It's
this
a
will
little
be the
bit
last
odd.
election. We won't have any elections after this.
Vote for me and you won't have to vote again anymore. And also, as you said, every accusation is a confession.
Yeah.
Where have I heard that before?
As I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president who got illegitimate foreign help. He knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did. I know that he knows that this wasn't on the level.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that he beat you?
Because he knows he didn't. He knows he's an illegitimate president. I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president.
We're all going to die.
People will die if the GOP tax scam ever becomes law.
And so as the attacks seem new, they really are tired and old, and we've been through them before, and I can recognize the hate, no matter if we're talking about in the 50s or if we're talking about in 2025. And so with me, I know that we've persevered past them. We have still been able to accomplish so much despite them. And I truly believe that as we walk into this next season, this losing season for the haters, I think that we will again be able to transgress and show that, like, we are great, we are normal, we are actually, if anything, we got superpowers as far as I'm concerned. So it is easier, in my opinion, to do what's right every single day that I go in and serve and do right for everyone, because at the end of the day, I know that there was a time and a place, and if they could, they would throw me back in chains.
Yeah.
Somehow, those that came before us managed to break loose of the physical chains, even though we still have a bunch of systemic chains that we are still kind of wrangling with.
Unchained.
And byways and wearing
Wearing a frown. You're gonna put you all back in chains. You hear them moaning their
Let me ask you about the ICE stuff, because, I mean, I have been going off on this on my show. To me, it's not America when ICE agents can show up in masks, sweep people up off the street, send them out of the country without due process, put them in these facilities, and we don't even know what's happening inside these facilities. So, of course, it makes sense that members of Congress would want to go visit one of these ICE facilities and say, okay, what's going on here? We're members of Congress. We represent the people. We want to know what's going on here. And then there's this scuffle where they're giving these members of Congress a hard time. And I'm worried about folks like yourself, Congresswoman, because I have to assume that, you know, of course they would like to arrest you and some of the others who are more outspoken in the House. That's just me thinking that.
Racism alert. This man is the finalist for the president of the University of Florida.
If you think about the history of racism or anti-Asian racism in Canada, it's been going on for decades, if not hundreds of years. And there's so much work that needs to be done. You know, it's one thing to shine a light on systemic racism. It's another thing to systematically really change the laws and the behaviors that are behind that systemic racism. And it's something that you cannot take your foot off the pedal, because as soon as you do that, the ugly and suffocating nature of racism will come back very, very, very quickly. So this has got to be a sustained effort.
So you heard me talk about Patriot Mobile for a while now. You probably already know that for years, they've stood in the gap for every American who believes that faith, family, and freedom are worth fighting for. They are the real deal. But did you know they've got cutting-edge technology too? Switching is easy. No store visits, no hassle. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% US-based team can activate you in minutes right over the phone. And get this. Patriot Mobile is one of the few carriers with access to all 3 major U.S. networks. That means exceptional nationwide coverage, plus they can even put a second number on a different network on one phone. It's like carrying 2 phones in one. They have unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, internet on-the-go devices, and home internet backup. You can't get this from the big guys. So what are you waiting for? Make the switch today and experience the Patriot Mobile difference. Go to patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT, and right now use promo code Larry for a free month of service. Switch to Patriot Mobile and defend freedom with every call and text you make. That's patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Attention active duty military and first responders. Open an account with Old Glory Bank. It takes about 8 minutes and get a free $100,000 line of duty life insurance policy.
Every day, they put their lives on the line. In the line of duty, in the line of fire. They're protectors, police, firefighters, the military, border patrol agents. They protect us, so Old Glory Bank is protecting them with Old Glory Protect. It's a $100,000 line of duty death benefit free with an Old Glory Bank account with direct deposit. Old Glory Protect from Old Glory Bank, protecting those who protect us.
Again, it'll take you about 8 minutes to open up an account. OldGloryBank.com. That's OldGloryBank.com. MyPillow is excited to announce that they are extending the mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. This is your chance to grab incredible deals on some of MyPillow's most popular and newly released items. For example, save $40 on the new spring MyPillow bed sheets available in any size and color. These luxurious sheets are designed for maximum comfort and breathability, perfect for a great night's sleep. Looking for a meaningful gift? Save 30% on the brand new My Crosses, inspired by the one Mike has worn every day for over 20 years. These beautifully crafted crosses come in both men's and women's designs and are proudly made right here in the good old US of A. Get the 6-piece bath or kitchen towel sets for just $39.98. Initial quantities are extremely limited, so do not wait. And don't forget the best-selling standard MyPillow, now just $17.98. Plus, orders over $75 ship free. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code Larry or call 800-890-1845 1843 to order right now. That's mypillow.com, promo code Larry, or call 800-890-1843 to order right now. Now, as to the feud between Trump and Musk, I'm reminded of something Aristotle once said, and I was there when he said it. Anyone can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not within everybody's power and is not easy.
Hello? Seriously, dude, like what the F?
Is this about Epstein?
No, like I told you that in confidence.
Yeah, well, maybe you shouldn't.
I told you that. I thought we were besties. I really did.
Well, so did I. Donald.
Well, look.
But I wanted
no,
to
that's uncalled
I wanted to
for.
cut spending, so.
I was going to take you to the island. I was going to take you. Remember that? I was going to take you there.
You were?
We were going to have a good time, and you ruined it. You botched it. You botched it so badly. So badly you botched it.
I just really wanted to make government efficient.
No,
so.
this is unforgivable that you would say that.
Well, you left me no choice, Donald.
This is like hose before bros level betrayal. That's
well, I have a lot of those. So.
And I was going to give you hose. I was going to take you there. I still know where it is.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's so wrong. It's so wrong.
Well, you left me no choice.
I let your little kid wipe boogers on my desk. You know that. In front of the press, I let him wipe little boogies, beautiful boogies, but I let him do it. I let him do it because I believed in our country. And I wanted you to be a part of that.
I know, but you screwed it up.
You botched it so badly. It's unbelievable.
I didn't botch it.
You know what? You don't have the cards right now. You don't have the cards. I'm going to go burn my Tesla. How do you like that? You like that?
Oh, you go for it. Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah.
I was never even there, and you know that. I was never there.
What, on Epstein's Island? Yes, you were.
We can ask Epstein himself. I'll call him. I'll call him right now.
Oh, really? How are you going to do that? He's dead.
Oh, you think he is?
Well, yeah.
Jeff.
Now, at this Doge hearing, we'll learn about the views of someone running a non-profit receiving taxpayer money.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for holding this hearing. I'd like to begin with Ms. Yentl. You've written a lot about anti-racism and white fragility and things like that. Do you believe that President Trump is a racist?
I don't believe that's relevant to this hearing.
Do you believe that he is?
I'm not here to discuss my personal beliefs. I'm here to speak about the important work
You've
that
tweeted that
nonprofits
he's a
do
vile,
across the
despicable
country.
racist. Do you believe that much of his housing policy was racist during his first term?
I'm here to talk about the vital work that nonprofit
So you're not going to answer me.
do throughout our country
tweeted
and
that
in your district.
it's explicitly racist and deeply harmful. Is that right?
I don't have the tweet in front of me.
I've got it right here. You did tweet that. You tweeted that on September 25th, 2020. You said it's explicitly racist and deeply harmful. Do you know who President Trump's Secretary of Housing and Urban Development was during his first term?
Yes,
Who is it? Who was it?
it was Secretary Carson.
It was Ben Carson. Do you believe that Ben Carson is racist or a white supremacist?
With all due respect, sir, I am not here to talk about former HUD secretaries. I'm here to talk about the essential
tweeted
work
extensively
that
about it.
nonprofits do in your district and throughout the country.
Okay, we can move on then if you won't answer the question. Are you a racist?
With all due respect, sir, I'm here to talk about the essential work that nonprofits do.
Excuse me, that's a
throughout
very
the
simple
country.
question. Yes or no question. Are you a racist?
I'm not a racist.
You're not a racist. Particularly interesting because according to one of your affiliate charities under your nonprofit umbrella, denial of racism constitutes covert white supremacy. Are you a covert white supremacist?
Sir, I'm here to talk about the essential work that nonprofits
Are you a
do.
covert white supremacist?
Can I talk about the work that nonprofits do in
No,
your
I'm
district?
asking you if you're a
'Cause I think that's
covert
the-
white supremacist, which according to one of your own organizations, again, denial of racism constitutes covert white supremacy. Would you like
I'm
to answer
sorry,
the
what's-
question?
I don't know what the question is.
So you refuse to answer whether you are a covert white supremacist.
I am here to talk about the essential work that nonprofits do. If you'd like to ask me a
I
question
am utterly
about
dumbfounded.
nonprofits
You are on
in your
record right now,
district
and you will
or
not say
throughout
that
the
you are not a
country.
covert white supremacist.
I don't have a definition in front of me. I haven't looked at the definition. I'm not going to answer a question about my personal
That
views
is
I'm here to talk about the work
You're not
of nonprofit organizations.
I want to give you one more chance to do this. Are you a covert white supremacist?
Why are we so off track from the topic?
I'm asking you a very straightforward question.
I've heard your question. Thank you, sir.
And you're not going to answer whether you are a covert white supremacist.
I would like to answer questions about the work of nonprofit organizations. Thank you.
That is really, really astounding. I can answer very directly that I am not a covert white supremacist, and I imagine all of my colleagues can as well. I think you ought to reevaluate what you're doing in the nonprofit sector if you can't answer that in a straightforward way. That is astounding. Let me ask you another question. Do you believe that it's appropriate to host and promote LGBTQ plus meetups for 9-year-olds?
I am here to support the vital work of nonprofits, and I will say to oppose the federal government targeting groups.
My question is, do you believe it's appropriate to host and promote LGBTQ plus meetups for 9-year-olds?
I believe that
because one of your affiliate nonprofits does do that.
Organizations that have views different from its own. That is wrong, whatever party is in control, whatever administration is in control.
I think a lot of this is wrong. Do you think that it's appropriate for young children to use gender transition paraphernalia? Because one of your not affiliated nonprofit organizations gives bras, binders, breast forms, nipples. I'm not even going to repeat this because it's so disgusting for children of all ages.
Breaching decorum and attacking the witness. Can we please
I'm not attacking the witness. I'm simply asking a straightforward question.
Mr. Gill, I'll be extending your time. You've been interrupted.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you believe that art exploration camps for transgender and gender diverse youth of the age of 11 is normal?
We support the vital work of nonprofit organizations and oppose the federal government opposing.
So you refuse to answer any of these questions. You refuse to even answer the question of whether you are a covert white supremacist.
I'm not here to answer questions about my personal views or my personal.
Is that because you don't want to disclose whether you're a covert white supremacist?
I'm here to talk about the essential
I'm
work
giving
that
you a chance to tell the world that you are not a covert white supremacist. Will you do that?
I'll pass on your chance.
You'll pass on that.
Thank you, sir.
That is astounding. That is really astounding. You're a radical far left activist, and you're masquerading as somebody promoting nonprofit, nonpartisan institutions, and you will not even tell this committee that you are not a covert white supremacist. That's astounding. I yield my time back.
Now, the left often finds out how intolerant the left is. Right? Ex-CNN Chris Cillizza, Jake Tapper, and Gavin Newsom.
A soccer tournament for my son. And we parked my car, which is a Tesla, and we went and watched the game. And when he and I came back, there was something attached to it that was not there when we had left. It was this. Someone had taped a sign, "Musk is a Nazi," to my car. Now, they obviously had pre-written this, or they have a bunch of them, right? But "Musk is a Nazi" taped to my car. So this is the first time I've experienced the sort of politics of Elon Musk and Tesla. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it because the journey I have had with this car is in some ways a journey of, I think a lot of people have had with politics.
I went on a left-leaning podcast that shall remain nameless, and we were talking about my kids because I think they were both people without kids. And they asked me about my son, and I said he was, he's a football player and he wants to be a policeman. And their joke was about my 15-year-old son, oh, how does he feel about minorities? Like the idea that he wants to be a policeman, therefore he's racist, my son. And that was the big laugh. And then I got dragged in the comments and all that stuff. And I thought to myself, this is why you are losing elections.
100%.
Like my football playing son, who has no political views. He's 15. He thinks about World War II and gaming and playing linebacker. That's his world. You're deciding he's a racist because he wants to be a cop. And why does he want to be a cop? He wants to be a cop because he wants to help people, and he thinks that's the best way he can help people. And that's how the Democratic Party talks to men, not just white men, but men. And I mean, I get the idea that they thought Tim Walz could, what's the term he used? Code switch or something? He thought that he could translate the Democratic Party values because he hunts and fishes and owns a gun and was in the army and drinks a beer. I mean, at least there was an attempt, but I find it just insane.
So like you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate.
But like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. So that's easy to call out, the unfairness of that.
Ah, the intolerance of the tolerant. Finally, sometimes you wonder why this doesn't happen more often.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning.
The GIF is here all week.
It reminds me of the story of the farmer who was driving his horse and wagon to town for a load of grain and had a head-on collision with an automobile. And later, after following all the legal proceedings with insurance company and all, he was on the stand, and the lawyer said to him, "Is it true that while you were lying there at the scene of the accident, someone came up to you and asked you how you were feeling? And didn't you answer that you'd never felt better in your life?" The man said, "Well, yes, I did, but you must understand, while I was lying there, a deputy sheriff had just shot my horse because it had 2 broken legs and was neighing with pain, then went over to my dog who had a broken back and did the same thing, then came up to me and said, 'How are you feeling?' An evangelical pastor decided to skip church one Sunday morning so he could play golf. He told his assistant that he wasn't feeling well. He then drove to a golf course in a major city where nobody would recognize him. He teed off on the first hole, and suddenly a huge gust of wind caught hold of the ball and carried it an extra 200 yards. It dropped right into the hole for a 450-yard hole-in-one. An angel looked at God and said, "Why did you do that?" God said, "Who's he going to tell?"
Up and away!
Look at Emerson.
Emerson! Oh my gosh, so cute! Oh my Lord!
Hope you enjoyed We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by Immun'Âge. Immun'Âge supports the immune system, supports the antioxidant system to help fight the excess of free radicals, increases cellular energy production for vibrant health and vitality, combats skin aging from within, and is backed by gold standard evidence-based research and brought to you by Freedom Chat. Freedom Chat is true end-to-end encryption, no storage of messages on the server, and no commercial use of user data. That way you can speak freely and message privately. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also thank Impactful Pictures, Old Glory Bank, Patriot Mobile, MyPillow, and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast. Make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you are using, whether X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. Please patronize our sponsors so we can keep bringing you these incredible videos. And remember, we've got a country to save.
I've done no right up till now. It's the light of day that shows me how. It's when the night falls, my loneliness calls. Oh, I want to dance with somebody. I want to feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I want to dance with somebody. With somebody who loves.
Introducing the new LA Riots 2025 shirt and hoodie only at LarryElderShop.com. A bold design that calls out what happens when weak leadership meets radical agendas. And now you can take the message even further with brand new mugs featuring the same fearless artwork. Perfect for fueling your day and the conversation. Grab your gear and mugs now at LarryElderShop.com, and don't forget to use promo code ELDER25 for 25% off. Wear the truth. Sip it with purpose. We've got a country to save.